بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. دمان dadweynaha naga daawanaya telefishinka weyn ee Kalson waxaan idin leenahay assalaamu calaykum dhammaantiin sagiir iyo kabiir. Waxaan idinka salaameynaa bartamaha stuudiyaha telefishinka Kalson uu ku leeyahay aqalka Crown House magaalada London. waxaan idin soo tabinaynaa sidii aan ooga barateen habeen kasta oo axada saacadahan oo kale barnaamijkii caanka ahaa ee Gurmad ee toddobaadlaha ahaa. barnaamijkaasi oo badanaa baan ku falanqeyno arrimo muhiim u ah bulshada Soomaalida, ha noqoto xag caafimaad, ha noqoto iyo xag waxbarasho, shaqooyin iyo mashaakilaadka nolosha ee dadka la soo gudboonaada iyo sidii xal loo heli lahaa. caawa oo bisha Maarsa ay tahay 27 saacaduna ay tahay 9:00 waxaa barnaamijkani inoogu marti ah oo nasiib aan u yeelanay in mar saddexaad aan ku marti qaadno mustashaarka weyn, dhakhtarka weyn Mohammed Zain Green Thompson. Mohammed Zain Green Thompson waa psychiatrist ama dhakhtar isagu ku takhasusay cudurrada dhimarka ama waalida. Mohammed waxa uu ku dhashay magaalada Durban ee dalka Koonfur Afrika, waxaana uu ku takhasusay waxna ku bartay London iyo Cambridge ba. horey waxa uu uga qayb qaatay oo aan ku casuumay barnaamijka Gurmad sidan oo kale. caawa barnaamijka waxa noogu casuuman dhakhtarkan Mohammed Zain Green Thompson oo aan jecelnahay inaan ku soo dhaweyno asagoo barnaamijku cawada si gaar ah ugu saabsan yahay personality disorder-ka amba nidaam darro ku timaada dabeecadda shakhsiga. barnaamijkaas sida caadiga wuxuu ku bixi doonaa luqadda Ingiriisiga ayadoo ay dhinac socoto tarjumaad markii loo baahdo. First of all, I have to welcome you to Kalson TV.
It's a pleasure to be back.
It is a great honor for us and that you have accepted our invitation and you came to the studio to give your precious time to your brothers and sisters who are in need of it.
The pleasure and the honor is mine. Jazakumullah khair.
Thank you very much. Dr. Mohammed, tonight we are talking about the issue of personality disorder. We have covered the addiction. We also talked about other mental health issues, depression, anxiety. Yeah. And many of the viewers whom I have chanced to meet and talk, they have greatly welcomed it.
Alhamdulillah.
They enjoyed the sessions. They describe it as very beneficial.
Alhamdulillah.
And my first question is, personality disorders are conditions in which an individual differs greatly from an average person in terms of how they think, perceive, feel, or relate to others. Changes in how the person feels and the person having distorted image of others can sometimes lead to strange behavior which can be distressing and may upset others, often ending in trouble. What I would like to ask you as a psychiatrist and a specialist in the field of mental health, what are personality disorders? Thank you very much.
Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala rasulullah wa alayhi wa sahbihi tasliman kathira. Assalamu alaikum. Well, you've answered the question of what personality disorders are, and really what they are is people who have a group of harmful and rigid and really very maladaptive, poorly adaptive coping mechanisms and behaviors, as you discussed. If we were to think about them from a psychiatric perspective, I'm going to read out many criteria in a very rigid way, and it's going to sound as if it's very scientific, and certainly medicine likes to make things scientific. But all of you at home will understand these descriptions in terms of people you've come across, and perhaps aspects of your own personality. And where it reaches the stage that it's harmful to you and to your relationships and to the people around you, then it becomes a disorder. So if we were to break these down into 3 groups or clusters, traditionally we call the divisions Cluster A, Cluster B, and Cluster C. Cluster A, which we won't go into great detail about tonight, but we'll mention them in passing, are the personality disorders where the person appears very odd or eccentric. Now, we're not talking about normal eccentricities, because of course we all have different personalities, but really abnormally odd or eccentric. And that would be paranoid, schizoid, or schizotypal disorder. Very briefly, paranoid personality disorder is where somebody has got a very, pervasive or wide-ranging distrust of other people, an entirely unjustified belief that others are trying to harm them, but obviously not to the degree of psychosis. They're very hesitant to confide in other people because they believe they're going to harm them. They are often angry or hostile in their reactions to very small perceived insults, and they have unjustified and recurrent suspicions that their spouse is unfaithful. So that's paranoid personality disorder. Schizoid personality disorder is where the person really has a limited range of emotional expression. They appear to be unable to derive pleasure from things, unable to pick up social cues in interacting with others. Their appearance is very cold and indifferent, and they have little or no interest in having sex with other people. That's schizoid personality disorder. Schizotypal personality is a very peculiar person, peculiar in the way in which they dress, or think, or believe. They have very odd experiences, such that they tell you that people are that they're hearing a voice whispering their name. But again, this is not to the extent of psychosis. And they may have magical thinking where they think that their thoughts are going to have effects on others. They socially can be anxious, and they can also have a very flat emotional expression. Now, as I said, these are rather odd or eccentric people, and we're not going to go into great detail about this Cluster A. Cluster B is really what we're going to focus on this evening, and I think many of you at home will be far more familiar with Cluster B rather than the odd or eccentric behaviors I mentioned in Cluster A.
Yeah. sida aad walaalayaal la socotaan barnaamijka waxaa ku saabsan yahay personality disorderka amba nidaam darro ku yimaada dabeecadda shakhsiga. dhakhtarku waxa uu ka hadlay Dr. Maxamed Zayn Green Thompson waxa uu ka hadlay 3 group ayuu leeyahay ayaa maaragtay waxaa jira noocyo kala duwan oo nidaam darrada shakhsiga dabeecadiisa ku timaada. marka wuxuu loo kala qaaday clustero ama groupyo A iyo B iyo C ah. wuxuu yiri cawada groupka A kama hadlayno. groupka A-dana waxaa isugu soo aruuray xaalado ay ka mid tahay paranoia amba schizo. paranoia waxa waaye waa unfounded fear, waa macnaha cabsi aanan markaasi xaqiiqi ahayn oo qofku iska baqanayo. waxaa kale oo jira qofku waxa uu qabaa maaragtay wuxuu noqonayaa hostile iyo mid maaragtay angry ah, mid caraysan amba maaragtay cadaawad u qaba dadkii kale. waxaa kaloo jira xaaladan kale uu ka hadlay dhakhtarku waxay tahay mid qofku uunan waxba sacaado ah ama farxad ka helaynin nolosha. xataa wuxuu soo qaatay inay jirto low or no maaragtay interest of having sexual contact with others.
Yes.
Libido is a form of libido. This is
Well, not so much interest. They're just not interested in it at all.
they are not interested in enjoying sexually. marka waxyaabahani xataa qofku ma doonayo inuu macnaha jinsiyan u raaxaysto, wax interestiya ma muujinayo. marka khoof baa jiraya. marka dhakhtarku cawada inkasta uu ka hadlayo personality disorderka ama nidaam darrada dabeecadda shakhsiga ku timaada, waxa cluster uu ka taabtay labada xaaladood baranooyiga ah iyo skitsoha ah labada xaaladood waa dul maray laakiin waxaa cawada uu ka hadlayaa si gooni uga hadlayaa cluster B. You're going to talk about cluster B.
Yes, no, I mean, I apologize to the viewers for giving you so much information in a short period of time. Obviously, in an hour, we can't discuss the whole field of personality disorders. So we're going to focus on two of them that really we see quite commonly and I think are really quite damaging and important for us to understand. Before we discuss cluster B, and we're going to discuss two of those in detail, let's just mention the disorders in cluster C, which are avoidant, dependent, and obsessive compulsive. Now, cluster C personalities are really people who are rather anxious and fearful. And I'm not going to go into great detail about them because, as I said, it will confuse you further. But you may think of somebody who's dependent as somebody who, for example, struggles to stay single after they've lost a close relationship. They have to go straight back into another close relationship. They have an excessive dependence on others. They're very submissive or clingy. They have a fear of having to look after themselves. And they've got very poor self-confidence. And importantly, they often tolerate abusive relationships. So that's a dependent personality disorder. An avoidant personality disorder is someone who's overly sensitive to criticism. Who avoids work that will result in interpersonal contact, that socially is very inhibited and timid, and who is rather extremely shy, not healthy haya, but really abnormally extremely shy, and has a great fear of disapproval. So those are some of the cluster C personalities. Now let's focus on cluster B. In cluster B, we're talking about emotionally unstable personality disorder.
Yes.
Before I go into
sida aad maqlaysaan dhakhtarku waxa uu intuunan gelin mawduuca cawada iyo maaragtay personality disorderka gruubka B-da la yidhaah waxa uu taabtay gruubka saddexaad ee C-da sida la socotaan nidaam darrida ku timaada dabeecadda shakhsiga ama qaab u dhaqanka shakhsigu waxa loo kala qaybiyey saddex qaybood baranooyaha skitsaha waxa la yidhaha borderline personal disorder iyo antisocialka waxaa kaloo dhinac socda ayagana avoidancega qofku uu iska dheeraanayo oo iska ilaalinayo dadka oo dhan uu isqoqobayo waxaa jira ayagana dependencyga qofku uunan keligii noolaan karin oo istiqlaalba uunan dareemayn waxaa ka mid ah dadka iyagu maaragtay obsessiveka ah oo maaragtay waswaaska badan macnaha obsessiviska waswaaska ama avoidancega dadka iska ilaaliya inay dadka dhex galaan waxyaabahaas oo dhan waxay noqonaysaa waa personality disorder ama nidaam darro qaab u dhaqankii shakhsiga ku timid marka waxa uu tusaale u soo qaatay dad maaragtay haddii qof ay xiriir la leeyihiin xiriirkooda istaago isla markiiba aanan noolaan karin ilaa ay xiriirkii mid kala sameeyaan oo keligood aanu soco karin xataa waxay xiriir samaynayaan ay dhib ku qabaan oo qofku markaa macnaha uu aaminsan yahay in dhib kastaba ha ku qabay khasab ku tahay inuu xiriirkaasi ku jiro marka ayada personality disorderka ama nidaam darrida ku imanaysa shakhsiga la dhaqankiisa ama qaab u dhaqankiisa waxaan ka taabanaynaa borderline personality disorderka iyo antisocialka. Please welcome. Just talk about these two.
So I think it may make a little more sense if we discuss one or two of them in detail, then we can give examples. So if we look at the cluster B personality disorders, the first is antisocial personality disorder, also called dissocial personality disorder. The second is borderline personality disorder, also known as emotionally unstable personality disorder. And the other two are histrionic and narcissistic personality disorders. But let's start with antisocial. So amongst those who have antisocial personality disorder, the most extreme of those, and really one of the most extreme abnormal personalities that we would find, are people who we commonly call psychopaths or sociopaths. Now, psychopaths are people who've got a very extreme antisocial personality disorder. And What's interesting, thinking about this, as Muslims and thinking of Muslim families and about having our parents be the people that we copy, is that as I discussed with Brother Sahel before the show, we remember that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, in Surah Al-Qalam, the pen, Surah number 68, ayah number 4, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala proclaims that Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is on a great, or has a great moral character. And really we should all be aiming for that character, for the best of characters. But our personalities can still be different. So the Sahaba, who modeled themselves on the Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and they were his companions, of course, they still had different personalities, but they were different healthy personalities with different aspects to them. But when we look at abnormal personalities, and really one of the most extremes are people who are psychopaths. Now interestingly, psychopaths are people who have had problems from their teenage years at least. So if you have a diagnosis of being a psychopath, you are certainly somebody who also, before the age of 15, could have been diagnosed with a conduct disorder. And a psychopath would have three of the following 7 criteria. They would violate social norms, so they don't care about rules. They might get arrested where they are clearly in the wrong. They're deceitful, they're impulsive, and they fail to plan ahead. They're very irritable and aggressive. They have a reckless disregard for the safety of themselves or of others. They're consistently irresponsible with regard to work and their other obligations, and they have a lack of remorse. They don't feel any guilt for what they've done. And as I said, before the age of 15, they would have been people who had a conduct disorder. And a conduct disorder, thinking about somebody in their early teens, is somebody who really has a repetitive and persistent pattern of ignoring the basic rights of other people, who may be a bully, initiating fights, may have used a weapon on occasion, may be physically cruel to people or to animals, may have stolen things, or forced somebody into sexual activity. They're very destructive people. They may have committed arson or criminal damage. They can be very deceitful, broken into someone's house or car, lied to obtain goods or favors, or committed theft. And as I said, they violate rules. Even as a young teen, they may have stayed out late in defiance to the orders of their parents, run away from home, or been truant from school. And all of these things are to the extent that it's affecting their social interaction and it's affecting their studies. And these people, when they turn 18, have a chance of developing antisocial personality disorder, and the worst of them become psychopaths. So that's at the extreme end. But when we understand this, we know that children model themselves or copying the people who are influential around them. And if we remember that if you go to your doctor with these problems, there's no medication that can solve. They can suggest some talking therapy, but it's really for the person to understand what their abnormal character is and to try to want to change it. And obviously the only medication is to submit to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and try to follow His guidance.
sida aad maqlaysaan dhakhtarku waxa uu galay inuu noo sharxo laba qaybood oo cawada aan doonayn in barnaamijkeena ku qaadaa dhigno labada qaybood oo macnaha qaybo markaasi muhiima marka laga hadlayo personality disorderka ama dabeecadda shakhsiga oo nidaam darro ay ku timaado. dhakhtarku waxa uu ka hadlay antisocial behavior, antisocialka oo iyadu ah qayb ka mid ah personality disorderka ama nidaam darrada dabeecadda shakhsiga. waxa uu ka hadlay psychopathka oo ah personka macnaha markaasi ay hayso nidaam darro xagga maskaxda amba violent social behavior leh dabeecad dad la dhaqan oo markaasi cunfi iyo dagaal ku jiro. marka waxay ila tahay dhakhtarku waxa uu ka hadlay qofka antisocialka waa qof social normaha ama waxa generally agreed ka waxa la isku raacay in nidaam loo nawo in la ixtiraamo in nidaamyada la degsaday la dhowro ayuu ku dheelaa oo uunan tixgelinba deceitful waa qof khayaano badan oo yidhi macnaha markaasi haddii aad fiiriso impulsive ah oo weji gabaxa macnaha qofkani waa aggressive qof markaasi diyaar u ah inuu dagaalamo irresponsible waa yidhi sifadiisa waxaa ka mid a qofaa markaa mas-uuliyaddii loo dhiibay aan ka soo baxay waxuu ka naxaya ma leh inta una gaarin 15 sano waxa qofkaasi uu yahay qof markaasi markii horeba lahaa conduct disorder amba nidaam darro qaab dhaqan qofkani waxa uu yahay marka haddaan fiirino caruurtii iyo dadkii waxa waaye qof markaasi asagu initiates the fights ayuu leeyahay bilaabo dagaalka waad arkaysaa caruur fara badan ayaa ilaahay meel isugu keenaya waxaa arkaysaa mid ka mid a baa mar kasta dagaal kicinaya waxa uu noqonayaa qofkani mid aan raxmad u lahayn dadka iyo xayawaanaadka qof xataa kufsada oo sexually jinsiin ahaan dhibaatooyin geysta waa sheegaya si uu u helo markaasi waxa uu doonayo waa qof defiance ah defiance waa qofkii diida awaamirta dowlad ama kan waalid marka waa qof aan amarba qaadanayn aan ka qaadanayn waalidkii haddii qofkani uu soo gaaro ayuu leeyahay dhakhtarka 18 markaasi xaaladahaasi waxay isu bedelayaan psychopath ayuu noqonayaa qofkani wuxuu noqonayaa chronic mental disorder marka wuxuu leeyahay wax daawo ah ma laha qofka ayaa laga doonayaa personality disorderka inuu saxo haddii uu u tago GB waxaa jira talking therapy please continue doctor.
So, as we know as Muslims, guidance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and even the Anbiya had family members who didn't necessarily. Nuh alayhi salam, for example, had a son who didn't want to come into the ark. But it is important that we remember that children copy their parents, and so it is vital that we serve them well by providing them with the best example. Of the places that you will find these people in great numbers are interestingly two. So although it is the case that fortunately there are not very many psychopaths amongst us, the two places that you will find them in much greater numbers are prison, number one, unsurprisingly, because they break rules and they are often caught. But the second place that you will find them is in the chief executive's office. So people who are in very senior leadership positions, chief executives, presidents, are more likely than the general population to have an antisocial personality, and of course people in prison. Now that's absolutely not to say that you cannot become a leader without being a psychopath, of course not. In the Anbiya we have the example of the greatest leaders, but it is also the case that some bad people acting ruthlessly and without remorse achieve high office and then use it to very bad end. And in that office, if they have no remorse, they can obviously be responsible for the deaths of many people.
I think dhakhtarku waxa uu ka hadlay macnaha psychopathka wuxuu leeyahay meelaha aad ka helayso dadka iyagu chronically mentally ill ah oo xaaladahan soo maray antisocialka oo markii dambena ay la gaartay maraaxisha ugu xumay waxaa ka mid ah intooda badan waxaad ka helaysaa jeelasha dadka ku jira waxaa kaloo jiro leeyahay senior leadershipka dadka heerka macnaha mas-uuliyadda ka gaara meel sare madaxda waa madaxweynayaasha iyo dadka iyagu chief executiveska ama macnaha saraakiisha waaweynee markaasi mas-uuliyada ka ah hay-adaha macnaha ma aha in qof kastani oo mas-uula ama madaxweynaha uu yahay psychopath amba uu personality disorder weyn leeyahay laakiin waxay tahay way u badan yihiin uu leeyahay qofkaasi wuxuu noqonayaa qof aan raxman taas ayaa waxaa keenaysa xataa inuu dad dilo waxna u arkin taasina walaalayaal waan aragnaa oo waxaa jira dad markaasi noqday mas-uulo dowlado ka noqday oo ayagu gacantooda ku sameeyey ama amray dilal fara badan nolol caadiyana watay oo aanu arkinba bini aadanka uu xaqdarada ku dilay wax isbedel marka wuxuu leeyahay dhakhtarku tani waxay hoos imaanaysaa personality disorderka.
So these are the worst of examples. But the good news from us, for us as Muslims, is that in many cases the roots of these evil people lie in the person that they became even in their younger years. And so it just reminds us again and again that when you're raising a child, providing a loving but firm and consistent home where you are inculcating, you're putting into them the wisdom and the guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the best thing you can do, because when they are old enough to stop listening to you, inshallah they'll be listening to their creator Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and where they have any rough edges in their personality, they'll not only be able to recognize that inshallah, but also know what the right path is. They'll know the siratul mustaqim, and without that, obviously, as we see in the world today, people are lost and doing evil things.
sida maqasheen waxay tahay dhakhtarku wuxuu weli ka hadlayaa personality disorderka, waxaanan ku jirnaa anti-socialka. Dr. Muhammad, sometimes we see people who are narcissistic or who have a feeling that they are better and more powerful than others. I think we know there are mentally known conditions like megalomania, where the individual have exaggerated ideas of his importance and power, where he thinks that a whole town depends on his knowledge and expertise to stay for people in that town to keep moving.
Absolutely.
So I think these kind of feelings that are well beyond the normal feelings. When I have a feeling that I'm the best person out of millions of people with no solid proof. So is this not a megalomania?
Well, I mean, if we want to talk about narcissism, narcissistic personality, and we'll speak about that briefly, and histrionic personality, which besides emotionally unstable personality are the other of the cluster B personality disorders. So narcissistic people do believe that they're special. They fantasize about power. They have a failure to recognize the needs of other people. They exaggerate their own achievements, expect constant praise. They're arrogant, and they either have an envy of other people, or they believe other people are envying them. And they have an unreasonable expectation of constant favors from other people.
They want other people to fail.
Favors. They expect people to give them favors all the time. And of course, this is the nafs gone wild. And we need to really be careful that none of us have those things in our heart, because we know that anybody who has arrogance in them is not going to smell Jannah. And arrogance is a key part of a narcissistic personality disorder. Now, if I mention histrionic personality disorder very briefly again, that's somebody who's constantly seeking attention, whose behavior is very excessively emotional or sexually provocative in order to gain attention. They speak very strongly and dramatically, and they have very strong opinions, but they've got very few facts to back themselves up. They have very shallow, frequently changing emotions, and they have an excessive concern with their physical appearance, and they have relationships with others that they believe are very close, but they're not really that close to other people. So that's the person who's histrionic. So all of cluster B are people who are overly dramatic and emotional. So we've mentioned histrionic now, narcissistic, and of course we spoke of antisocial. But if we speak about one of the most common personality disorders that I see in accident and emergency every week, and that we often find people are struggling with, and these people really, they do need help, and they need help to recognize what is going on and to see what they need to do about it. And that's the group of people with emotionally unstable personality disorders.
Unstable personality disorders.
Emotionally unstable personality disorder, also called borderline personality disorder. It's the same thing. So And again, this
these are the ones that you see in hospitals being treated.
Well, we see them quite frequently, and this is the last list that I'm going to give you tonight, and I'm sorry for all of these.
What are the common features of these personalities, borderline personality disorder?
So the common feature of borderline or emotionally unstable personality is somebody who's got, again, a very clear pattern of unstable self-image and really unstable interpersonal relations because of their apparently blowing hot and cold, their fluctuating mood. It begins in early adulthood usually, and it presents in a variety of contexts. So if I read a list of 9 things to you, somebody with emotionally unstable personality disorder will have at least 5 of these things. So firstly, frantic efforts to avoid being abandoned, real or imagined abandonment, unstable and abnormally intense interpersonal relationships, and these are characterized by alternating being very extreme in idealizing somebody. So you've got somebody who thinks that you're amazing and then thinks that you are worthless very quickly.
They are making images.
Yes, so if I have an emotionally unstable personality disorder, I might have a relationship with you where I tell you how amazing you are, truly amazing. The sun shines from you. And then a day or 2 days later, I tell you how worthless you are, that you're lower than dirt.
So these are fluctuating.
They are fluctuating.
There is no fixed opinion about somebody or something.
It's characterized by alternating and extreme alternations. These people have a disturbance of their own identity. They have recurrent suicidal ideation, or they hurt themselves. As I said, their affect, their apparent mood is very unstable. They have chronic feelings of emptiness. They have an inappropriate, intense anger, lack of control of their anger. And they often have temporary or transient stress-related paranoid feelings. Now, very interestingly, if we look at this presenting in people who are Muslims and non-Muslims, we can see how the modern world can often push people into this emotionally unstable personality. So for somebody, for example, who doesn't have yaqeen in the akhirah, doesn't have a belief in a creator, I've sometimes seen young people in Cambridge, brilliant undergraduate students, accepted to a good university, come from wealthy families, they're very healthy, they have got no problems at all, and they're hurting themselves, they're cutting themselves. And when I ask them, why are you doing this? Many of them tell me, what's the point of life? What's the meaning of this anyway?
They're fed up.
They not so much fed up, but they feel empty, they feel lost. And this
they give up the hope of having normal life.
Well, it's not so much that they've given up the hope of the normal life, they're asking themselves, what is the purpose of life?
They're confused.
They're confused in their ignorance, but even Muslims who have knowledge can also slip into this feeling of emptiness. And so it really shows us that without an understanding of the purpose of life, being the ibadah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and actually trying to dedicate yourself to that, you can slip into a feeling of emptiness, and that can lead to these unstable interpersonal relations.
walaal sida la socotaan ina maaragtay luqadaha kale ku hadashaa ayaan isku dayayaa inay barnaamijka la socdaan. Dhakhtarku waxuu ka hadlayaa wax la yiraahdo borderline personality disorder ama qofka emotionally caatifiyan unstable ka aan deganin. Wuxuu leeyahay qofkani wuxuu leeyahay dareen fluctuating oo markaasi aan thaabit ahayn. Maantu ku amanaya biritu ku caynaya, maantu ku caynaya birituna ku amanaya. waxa uu leeyahay maaragtay extreme alternation isaa jira. waxa kaloo jira qofkani suicidal thoughts, macnaha waxa ku imanaya marmar waxa ku soo dhacaya inuu asaga dhanba isdilo nafta iska qaado. waxa jira emptiness, waxa uu dareemayaa inaan wax faa'iido ah ama khayrba jirinba. macnaha waxa jira lack of control of their anger, caradooda dadkaasi dhakhtarku wuxuu leeyahay awood uma leh inay taxakum ku sameeyaan ama ay xukumaan. wuxuu tusaale u soo qaatay dhalinyaro uu ku arkay jaamacadda Cambridge oo macnaha iyagu awood u yeeshay. jaamacaddan ognahay jaamacadaha ugu qaalisan dunida inay tahay ugu waxbarashada fiican. waxba meesha bay gaareen, reero waxay ka soo jeedaan qani ah, wax kasta oo nolosha u baahan yihiin haystaan. hadday noqon lahayd waxay xirtaan iyo waxay cunaan iyo haddana waxay dhakhtarka qaarkood ku yiraahdeen waxaan macnaha noloshan inaan isaga tagaan ba jeclahay oo uma arko waxba uma jeednaba macnaha kuma qanacsana marka taasi uu ka hadla waxay tahay wax weyn baa jiro leeyahay waxa waaye dadkaasi purpose of life-ka ama ujeedada leysku abuurayba ma oga to carry from there the feelings of emptiness.
Yes.
People feel that they have nothing to live for.
Absolutely.
And the reason is they didn't understand the purpose of the creation, that we have been created nothing but to worship Allah.
Well, as I said, I mean, that's one reason, and it's something that I have seen. But we need to be very careful as Muslims not to believe.
Telephone calls are coming from
No
everywhere.
problem.
Yes.
If I'll just end up by saying not to believe that we are superior, because many Muslims fall into the same trap and say that they have guidance and yet still fall into the emptiness. And for the people who don't have guidance, we should have compassion towards them and do the best that we can do to give them the message. And of course, that is part of our duties.
For Muslims and non-Muslims, we have to guide them.
Guidance is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but we should do our best to give the message. And really look at ourselves.
To cope with the feeling of emptiness.
Yes, but with all of these things, and I'm giving you many lists of many different personality disorders, be careful before you point fingers at other people saying this person has this personality disorder and that person has that personality disorder. Ask yourself what your personality is, and ask yourself where there are some aspects of your personality that could change, and ask Allah to protect you from falling into fitna.
waxaa dhakhtarku leeyahay waxaa muhima in aan dadka dareemay ama muslin ahaadaan ama cid kale dareemaya inay noloshu ay waxba qiimo lahayn oo markaa qarka u saaran inay naftooda iska qaadaan in aan ku dadaalno inaan hanuunino wax u sheegno farta ha ku fiiqin cidna adigana ilaahay bari in xaaladda uu kugu ridin dadkana u gargaar telefonaadku waa furan yihiin khadka dadweynaha meel kastay joogaan waxay weydiin karaan dhakhtarka su-aashii ay doonaan موضوع عوض وحو كساب سنها borderline personality disorder iyo anti-social dadka dhaqankooda shakhsiyan wax iska bedeleen ku soo dhawa walaal waxaan sugaynaa qof baa ku jira khadka
Assalaamu calaykum.
calaykum assalaam waraxmatullah walaal soo dhawow magacaagii meesha ka soo hadlayso
walaal hodan baa la yidhaahdaa waxaan ka soo hadlayaa South Westka waxaan rabay inaan weydiiyo Dr. Thompson af English ma kula hadli karaya
aad iyo aad toos walaal waaba kas aad u fiican tahay toos inaa ugula hadasho luqadda Ingiriisiga
Assalaamu calaykum brother
Wa alaykum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Brother, I really respect the fact that you support all the Muslim community with your speciality. I was, a patient at a mental health clinic a couple of years ago, 2 years ago, and I actually, came out pretty well. I'm off medication. I'm doing better than I have in my entire life. And I think there's some truth in what you just said, that you said a lot of Muslims can even fall into that category where they feel that they don't know what their purpose in life was. And it's the truth, because I know it wasn't just myself, but during high school as well, around 13, 14, a lot of youth started questioning at that stage. And I honestly can say psychiatry today is a duty. It's not a choice. It's a duty for the entire human race to understand themselves. And there's a truth to the elements, because in the Quran there's a surah that says Allah will show us the signs until we understand each other. And the truth is that today's science, behavioral science, psychology, psychiatrists, it's in high demand. In the next 30 to 50 years, people need to understand themselves deeper. So can I just put out there, the Somali community, all communities, everybody's going through wars and traumas. These are going to be critical issues. It's not a choice. It's something that is duty-bound, that we all need to study psychiatry, human nature, and psychology to a high level. I really feel honored to have you on this show. Can I just ask one last question? Is there like a body of knowledge? Because I went to university, I didn't do psychology or psychiatry, I did a medical science course. But I wanted to know, is there a body of a website or resource that the Muslim community can go to study about all sorts of psychological issues and personality development, because all these are interlinked?
Very directly. Firstly, Jazakallah khairan for the question. And the best body of knowledge, absolutely, sincerely, positively, that you can study is to understand, and in the language you understand if you don't understand Arabic, and in Arabic if you do, the Quran and the Sunnah. And I'm not saying that just to be glib because we're Muslims. I'm saying that because, reading the Quran as a psychiatrist, you can see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is of course, he's giving his guidance, and he's trying to ask you, as he's telling you in the Quran, to ponder and to reflect. He's giving you examples of when the Anbiya went through difficulties. He's even giving you examples of when they've made, mistakes. He's giving you examples of why he has given his guidance. He's not just giving you prescriptions, do's and don'ts, but he's giving you opportunities to reflect. The stories in the Quran, we know, are not simply stories for us to listen to as stories, but for us to learn lessons from. Whether you learn from the lesson of Yusuf, whether you learn from the lesson of Nuh and his son, whether you learn from the lesson of Ayub with his patience, alayhi salam, for all of them, whether you learn from the lesson of any of the Anbiya, and of course of the Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, there are deep lessons in the Quran teaching us about what a good character is, teaching us about what temptations are, teaching us about what to avoid, telling us that shaitan is our open enemy and we should treat him as such. And if we follow these things, we will have, as the Sahaba did, they, no matter how simple their socio-economic background was, Bilal radiallahu anhu had been a slave, they became noble men and women. They were elevated into the aristocracy of Islam on the basis of their taqwa, not of their birth.
Okay. walaalayaal sidaad maqlaysaan waxaa gabar walaasheena ay weydiisay jazaaka allah waan u ducaynaynaa gabadhaasi si sharaftana barnaamijka uga qayb qaadatay oo xaqiiqada iyo wanaagga ku dhisan waxay tiri sanado yar ka hor waxaan galay xaaladan macnaha alxamdulilah hadda waan ka baxay daawadiina macnaha waa off medication aan ahay oo wax daawo ah ma qaato waxay tiri waxyaabihii dhakhtarow aad sheegtay waxaa ku jira run baa ku jirta xaqiiqaad ka taabatay ayay gabadhaasi ula jeeday waxay tiri muslimiin fara badan ayaa macnaha qarka u saaran ama ku sigan inay ku dhacaan kategorigii aan ka hadlaynay oo emptiness-ka iyo dhibaatooyinka marka dhakhtarka waxa uu ka hadlay uu taabtay isagoo wax badan sheegay waxaa jira qur-aanka kariimka ah inuu yahay daawo oo inagoo dhan noo yahay waxaa jira qisas fara badan oo qur-aanka ku jira oo ambiyadii oo ay ka mid tahay qisadii nebi ayub qisadii nebi nuux qisadii nebi yuusuf calayhi salaam iyo qisadii nebi maxamed khaatim alambiyaa sala allahu calayhi wasalam waxaa jira uu leeyahay duruus qoto dheer oo qur-aanka ku jirto noo sheegaysa wax kasta macnaha sifada ay tahay inaan ku dayanno waxa sifada wanaagsan tahay duruus camiiqa oo qoto dheeraa jirta oo inoo sheegaysa shaydaanka waxaasoo dhan markaa wuxuu tilmaamayaa doctor maxamed zayn in badanna markii aan wada hadalnay uu farta ku fiiqa in dadka muslimiinta loo baahan yahay waqtiyada shidada inay aaminaan inay qur-aanka kariimka akhristaan ilaahayna u jeestaan just to continue brother what I wanted to say is that being overwhelmingly touched by the negative feelings such as distress, anxiety, avoiding other people and feeling empty and emotionally disconnected, difficulties managing negative feeling, difficulties maintaining stable and close relationship, especially with our parents, wives, children, people whom we work. These are really a challenging thing. I think if person fails to have relationship with his own family members, if he cannot work with members of the society in a workplace, I think you can imagine he becomes isolated. I think there are personality disorders that are mild, moderate and severe. I think if you could kindly, and there are also periods of remission where people function sometimes well and sometimes they go back to where they were.
I mean, I'm a little uncomfortable by talking about it in the illness model.
Yeah.
In the sense that, let's be clear, personality disorders, they're disorders, yes, they're mental disorders, but they're not mental illnesses. Mm-hmm. And so we need to understand that there's great hope here, because the antidote of having coping mechanisms which are not good for you, which are harmful, which are very rigid, is to obviously learn better coping mechanisms that are full of goodness, full of khair. And we have the path, we have the knowledge, we have the deen which is as white as milk, that gives us this information. The important thing is that we are humble enough to be prepared to look into the mirror, to look at the aspects of our own personality, because many people with personality disorders feel they are perfectly normal, feel that what they're doing is perfectly reasonable, and it is other people who have the problem. So if we feel that it's always other people who are in the wrong, we need to pause and ask ourselves whether we have some problems of our own. And so although if you go to see a psychiatrist and you have emotionally unstable personality problems, they may talk about certain behavioral therapy that can help you. Even there, that behavioral therapy is simply to give you an opportunity to understand your own coping mechanisms and see what's working and what's not, and to learn better ones. And certainly you can do that, and there's nothing wrong with that, doing that as a Muslim. But what I'm saying is that the information as to the best way of coping, the best things to do, and of course beginning by asking Allah for help and submitting to Him, is in the Book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Okay, so what you're saying, Dr. Muhammad, is that these personality disorders are not to be understood as mental illnesses. They are things that the person, with the help of Allah and by the person correcting himself, these things are things that we can change for better.
Well, of course we know la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. There's no power of might but from Allah. So that's always the case. What I would say to some people who may feel that they've experienced some of these things, but they believe that they've had depression and that's the issue, is that personality disorders can coexist with a mental illness. So you could have depression and have some aspects of a personality disorder. Or you could have somebody who has bipolar affective disorder, which is the old name is manic depression, and they also have some aspects of one or another personality disorder. They're slightly separate things. And of course with the issue of depression, we've discussed that before, but with the personality disorder, in terms of these personality problems, these coping mechanisms that are harmful and rigid, if you recognize them, you can of course try to look at what the better alternatives are in Islam and look to walk towards those. Sometimes you may need help from other people, whether it's through behavioral therapy, whether it's through a good Muslim who you trust helping you and being honest to you and not somebody who's trying to harm you. But you need to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for help first, second and third, and then use the means that He's given you, whatever those means may be, whether that means is a psychiatrist, whether that means is a good friend, whether that means is a scholar of Quran. And use all that is in front of you.
I think dhakhtarku waxa uu ka hadlay in mataqaana qofka xaaladani ay la soo gudboonaato in Ilaahay uu laabtay kitaabkiisa iyo sunnada nabiga. Waxa kale uu mataqaana uu kula taliyay in sheekh amba saaxiib aad markaas thiqa ku qabto aad macnaha gargaar weydiisato daawadina raadis. Marka waxa la highlight gareynayo maanta oo dhan ugu muhiimsan waliba asagoo mutakhasisa oo culuum oo ku takhasusay cudurrada dhimirka ama waalida maskaxda gala. waxa uu mar kasta na xasuusinaya waxay tahay daawadu inay ku jirto kitaabka Ilaahay. Marka waxaan la ka doonayaa inaan istaageerno inaan ciyuub isaga dhigin jirooyinka. waxa kale oo la ka doonayaa in markii waqtiyada shidada ama caruurteena aan ku aragno xaaladahan inaan macnaha garab qabano oo aan maaragtay la tacaalno. I think we are running out of time, but I think I may allow anybody who is trying to say few words to communicate with us. qof baa khadka ku jira walaal soo dhawow. qof baa khadka ku jira soo dhawow walaal. I think what I would like to say is that we're coming to conclusion. Medication only doesn't help. Means people believing that when things go wrong, they can run to their GP or specialist doctor and then get the solutions from that person. They are mistaken. Means what we are encouraging people to communicate with doctors and GPs and specialist persons in the field of health. but we also, as Muslims, encourage that we should turn towards Allah and ask for help.
Well,
His help.
yes, absolutely, but la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. There's no power might but from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So no one is saying, and I am the last person to say, that you should not go and consult people of knowledge around you, whether it's a doctor or somebody else. What we're saying is that don't put the responsibility on fixing you on someone else. Don't make it the GP's responsibility to cure you. Make it your own responsibility. And if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives the GP some means to help you, to help yourself, that is good. Whether it's temporary sleeping tablets, whether it's something to prevent you from feeling very extremely up and down in a short period of time, whether it's something to help slow your heart rate down because you're anxious. Go to your doctor to get something to help you to help yourself. But try and do your own work. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide you and to help you, and do everything that you can in terms of the Quran and Sunnah to live a good and healthy life. And it may be that that is part of the steps to becoming healthy again. And all of us need to reflect on our own personalities. Ask ourselves, is the nafs in control of us, or are we in control of the nafs? Ask ourselves, are we living for the dunya or for the akhirah? And these are questions that are asked and answers in the Quran. And if we look at that and the Sahih hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then we will be successful inshallah.
السلام عليكم.
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله. magacaaga walaal iyo meesha ka soo hadlayso?
abbo waxaa la yidhahaa Axmed, waxaan ka soo hadlayaa Edmonton Green.
Edmonton Green, walaal barnaamij ku soo dhawaaw, dhakhtarkaas su'aasha rabta weydii, hadalkoo ku furan yahay.
haa walaal, aniga 10 sano ka hor waxaa igu dhacay kansar.
haya
waxaa layga bixiyey keliga right side, kelida midigtaa layga bixiyey. markaa kelida layga bixiyey ilaa waqtigaas adiga muddo dheer dhakhtarkaan la xiriiri jiray, daawooyin baa laysiin jiray. muddo laga joogo 2 sanadood waxaa laygu dhahay waad kaa dhammaaday kansarkii. marka waxaan problem weyn ku qabaa, sidii lay qalay muqsisha dhibaataan ku qabaa, saxarada iyo kaadida. mar saa loo joogna waa gubanayaa, dhididaa iga imaanaya anigoo dhan. markaan dhakhtarkiin ku noqdo aan u sheega xanuunadii, waxay ii diraan raajo. raajada inkaas kadib wax dawo ah oo fiican tayo leh layma siiyo, laakiin waan socdaayo oo markasta ma ka caajiso, dhakhtarkii waa la xiriiraa.
walaal sidaa la socoto dhakhtarkani waa dhakhtar xagga dhimirka cudurrada maskaxda. waxay la tahay inkastoo su-aashaada aan gudbin, the sister is calling from Edmonton. waa mahadsantahay walaal. she said
waad mahadsantahay.
I had a cancer. I had my right kidney removed. 2 years ago I was told that I was treated from the illness, the cancer. She said she has difficulty in incontinence and using the toilet is a problem. She said, I told the doctors, they sent me, I've been x-rayed, but still I have the problem. I think this is something I personally believe is not directly related.
Yes, I mean, obviously I would suggest you consult your GP or a urologist, a kidney specialist.
Yeah.
Obviously I have some knowledge of this, but it's inappropriate for me to offer specialist advice for an area that I'm not practicing in.
dhakhtarka wuxuu ku yiri majaal amba field ana markaasi aniga takhasuskayga inaan ka hadlo ilama haboon. waxaan u maleynayaa qof kale ku jira khadka. soo dhawaad walaal.
Hello.
walaal ku soo dhawaad barnaamijka Gurmad.
walaal waxaan dhakhtarka weydiin lahaa, ma aragtay haddii aad arkayso qof ama eheladaada ama saaxiibkaaga inuu xanuun dareemayo ama maskaxda aad u malaynayso aanu isagu dareemaynin, sidee loo caawin karaa?
haddii qof ehelkaaga aad dareemayso inuu xanuunsan yahay,
asana isagu isdareemaynin waxa ma qaba ku leeyahay, sidee baad u caawin kartaa?
okay. mahadsantahay walaal. The sister is saying, how can I help a relative of mine who really has a mental issue, but who doesn't believe that he has? How can I be of some help to a relative of mine who's mentally, she strongly believes that the relative is mentally ill, but he doesn't. How can I help such person?
Well, I mean, it depends on what the problem is. I mean, if it's something like schizophrenia or psychosis where the person clearly depends from them and they don't at all know what they're doing, you know, you may have to go to the GP, and the GP may have to come to your house, and in some cases the person may have to be put into hospital compulsorily without their consent. But in the case of personality disorders, as we're discussing today, really the patient or the person really has to begin by being prepared to admit that there are things that they're doing, behaviors that they're doing in terms of how they cope with life and with other people that are not helpful to them, and they have to want to change. Similarly, if somebody has an anger problem and is beating their wife or is punching the wall, you can't take that anger away from them. They have to want to take steps towards having that anger lifted from their heart. And of course there's lots of guidance in Islam as to how to combat your anger, but they have to want to do it themselves. And we can't necessarily, you know, there's no magic wand to wave on people, there are no magic pills, and people have to want to acknowledge they have problems, all of us, and to take steps towards the truth.
It is down to the person to acknowledge.
Yes,
but if the person is not, some people really have mental issues.
If somebody has a mental illness like depression, to the extent that they're not eating and want to throw themselves off a bridge, I mean, they're going to have to be brought in by ambulance or the police without their consent and put in a hospital. Okay. But where it's a personality disorder, they have to have the insight to acknowledge there's something wrong with them, and they have to be willing to go for treatment. Because if you're going to give somebody behavioral therapy, which is really just helping them to understand what they're doing to cope that is good and what is not, and how to do something better, if they don't even acknowledge they're doing anything wrong, that's not going to help them.
I think walaal gabadhii hadda nala soo hadashay, dhakhtarku wuxuu leeyahay qofkani haddii uu yahay qof xanuunsan laakiin uunan markaasi asagu aanan ogoleyn inuu qirto, waa adag tahay markaasi qofkaasi in la eegto oo waxaa waajiba qofkaasi in la geeyo isbitaal without his or her consent, ayada raalle ka aha aan ka ahayn, xataa waa la khasbayaa amba waxaa la isticmaalayaa health professionalska loo sheegaya la leeyahay dhibka qof la eegan maayo. laakiin qofku haddii uu personality disorder leeyahay amba nidaamka dabeecadda shakhsigu ay khariban tahay, ilaa qofkaasi asaga ay ka soo go'do, xaaladdan waa noo sheegay dhakhtarku, waali ma ahane waa xaalad qofku hadduu dadaalo uu sixi karo. waxyaabihii cawadan ka hadlayno dhan qofku haddayna ka soo go'in waa adag tahay in la gargaaro. marka mar kasta ha ka harin qofka ehelkaaga ah, dhinac kasta ku day. walaalayaal waxaa la soo gaaray gabagabadii barnaamijka. intaanan ka bixin qadka waxay la tahay qof baa ku jira. walaal soo dhawow.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
عليكم
السلام. waxaan kaala hadlahayaa magaalada Leicester.
صح.
walaalow barbalena kala duwan baa ilaa 2013 2014 yaan la kulmay oo family iyo caruur iyo waxaas ah.
صح. walaal waa ku maqlayaa. waxaad ka durugtaa xoogaa TV-ga ka durug xoogaa yar.
haye walaal haye dhibaatada walaalow hadda waxaan isku arkay maxaan ku idhaahdaa inaan wax walba iloobahayo oo maaragtay anigu aan caruurta markaan la hadlahayo anu qaba inaan aayar la hadlayo miilayn hooyo maxaa kugu dhacay ood la qaylinaysaa waaba kuu dhownahaye iskamana warqabo waxyaaba noocaasa. madaxu way xanuunayaa, xanuuno badan oo la isku arki jirin, jeedada ay xanuunay, qoorta halkaa, dhinacyada dhafoorka haba dhinacba maaragtay maasha Allah xididada inaga dagayaan haddaan taabto far bay leegyihiin labada dhinacba. maxaan ku yidhaahdaa dhakhtarkayga TB-gana wallaahi hawlo kale baaba igu furan oo saa weli ugalama aan sheekaysanin laakiin aniga waxaan aan aaminsanahayba oon is ogahayba xoogaa yar in ma og tahay ama ilowshuhu igu badan yihiin ama aan og tahay hadalkayga ana tartiib ilmaha ana wax ugu sheegi karin oo aad moodaysid neerfis wax dheer oo hadalka qofku inuusan maqlayn anu qaba qofkii ila taagan taas problemkaas ay haystee
waa mahadsantaha walaal dhakhtarkan ku weydiinayna waxay la tahay waa su-aashii ugu dambeysay barnaamijka waktigaa naga sii dhimanaya aawadeed the sister has said I have gone through periods with lots of family problems and I think I now feel that I'm suffering from what forgetfulness. She forgets quite frequently. She said, when I'm talking to the children, I think I'm a bit nervous. When I'm talking to them, I think I'm speaking normal, but the children are taking notice that I'm speaking louder than was needed. So she believes she's nervous when communicating with her own children. She forgets things, and this may be the product of history of family problems which she experienced. That we have no the story in detail, but the sister is saying.
I mean, obviously, it's
a condition.
Not a lot of information. But certainly, that's if she has concerns about anxiety and about memory, you could approach your doctor and ask for an assessment. They could do a memory assessment separately to see, I don't know how the sisters, to see if there are any problems there that need to be looked at. And regarding any anxiety, they can do assessment for anxiety. And of course, we've discussed anxiety before. And there are lots of very good and simple things that can be done to help. If the sister perhaps watches on online copy of that program on anxiety, there's some information there. But if you have ongoing problems, then I would see your GP for an assessment where they'll be able to take a full history and have the full information to be able to offer you more specific advice, inshallah.
Okay. walaal dhakhtarkaa wuxuu kugula taliyey bacdama ay jirto milmaan in aad samayso memory assessment oo macnaha u tagto dhakhtar aad u tagto oo markaasi la fiiriyo bal macnaha xasuustaada waxaa kale oo uu kuu sheegay in check lagu sameeyo anxiety-ga macnaha welwelka waxay la tahay caruurtaada markaad la hadlayso waxay ahayd inaad relaxed noqoto ama qof maaragtay degan oo mataqaanaa welwel qabin waxaasoo dhan waxaa taladu ay tahay in aad la kulanto dhakhtar memory assessmentina la sameeyo anxiety-gana laga eego waxaan soo gaarnay gabagabadii barnaamijka walaalayaal waxaan idinkaga mahad celinaynaa sidii qiimaha iyo qaayaha lahayd ee barnaamijka gurmad caawa oo axada aad nagala socoteen telefishinka weyn ee kalson waxaan u mahad celinaynaa ilaaha weyn kasako waxaan u mahad celinaynaa walaalkeen moxamed zayn green thompson oo nagaga yimid magaalada cambridge si uu maaragtay isagoo ajar ka raadinaya ilaahay weyn uu walaalihiisa ugu sheego wixii ilaahay baray marka waxaan rajaynaynaa barnaamijkan inuu noqdo barnaamij faa'iido u leh mujtamaca idinkuna aad nagala xiriirtaan dad badan ayaa soo wactamay laakiin nasiib darro suurtagal maaha barnaamijka oo wakhtigiisu yahay hal saac inaan u saamaxno ummadoo dhan marka waa ka raali ahaanaynaa kuwiina doonayay inay hadlaan laakiin aan u suurtagelin I have to thank Dr. and brother Mohammed Zain Green Thompson for appearing and on the show. People have enjoyed really and they have expressed thanks. I think may Allah reward you for these good deeds and for passing the knowledge Allah giving you. I hope it will benefit millions of people.
Inshallah.
walaashii ugu dambeysay waxa uu ku yiri dhakhtarku waxaa jiray session ahay ku saabsanay muxaadaro sidan oo kale ku saabsanay anxiety-ga amba welwelka asanaga YouTube-kay ku jirtaa ka eego waxyaabo badan oo faa'iido ku ah ku jira walaalayaal intaasi ayaan kaga bixinaa barnaamijkeena caawa waxaan idin leenahay أمانة الله يا أمانة الرسول يا سرقت الدنب تضبات كسوس وعد مالين تحدى هدي إلى هاي النفن وقارسي وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله